All right. First episode of the podcast.
First episode, let's go.
It's
so
exciting.
excited, yeah.
So let's just start. Just give us a little bit of backstory about yourself, who you are, what you do.
Sure. I'm Jonah Hoskins. I'm an opera singer. And yeah, I started singing when I was 15, started taking voice lessons, and I caught the opera bug, and I've been here ever since. Yeah,
Cool.
Started singing professionally about 2 years ago. Did a young artist program before that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
what was that experience like, being in a young artist program? Where was that at?
I was at the Young Artist Program at the Met, and it was amazing. It's a really good Young Artist Program, and you basically get paid to focus solely on the art and to make sure that your voice is all ready to go and that you have your languages under your belt. And yeah, so it's amazing.
That's awesome.
Young Artist Programs.
Did you find that, how did you find working with the different people and the different personalities that are in theatre doing a young artist program? Did you feel like at times that it was very difficult, or did it come quite easy for you?
I feel like the people that I was working with were such great coaches and mentors. You get people who are extremely picky, which is a good thing, but can be, tricky to navigate and manage when you're getting so much feedback from every single place imaginable. It can start to feel overwhelming, and it's really easy to start to feel like, oh, maybe I'm not good enough to be here because I'm getting all this feedback all the time. But of course, that's their job too. So
yeah, exactly. I think you've shown that you're good enough to be here.
You have the opposite. I had a couple coaches where every single time I saw them, they're like, "You're perfect. You have nothing to work on," and those were always a bit of fresh air. Those were not very often, but occasionally you'd be like, "Nothing. You're golden." Exactly.
and then you get that one coach that you'd always go to and you feel like you just smashed it. And then they'll be like, this was all off. Yeah. No, I can definitely relate to that feeling. Cool. Well, we're actually in the middle of Interval at Glyndebourne at the moment, which is really cool.
Barbara of Seville, let's go. This is the best show yet.
Number one.
Every show's the best show.
So we're at show number 4 at
This
the
is
moment.
5, actually.
This is 5. They all
Is it
suddenly
not?
blur together. I think it is.
Yeah,
we're
5.
we're a ways in now. That leads me to one of my questions. How do you keep the energy up with a multiple show run? How do you like to approach it? Is there anything you do, any techniques?
I mean, to be honest, this is my first ever, so we're going to have to see, but it hasn't been an issue so far. We're only on show 5. But every night it's so unique, and this music already gives you so much energy. I think the real trick is making sure everything feels like it's the first time you've done it, as far as the story goes, because it can be really easy to start to anticipate certain responses. But with this cast, they're all so good that it's a little bit different every night, and so you can't really rely on that, because they change the way they do a recit here, or they'll hold something a little bit longer or a little bit less, so that you're always on your toes a little bit today. Today, there's this part where I'm supposed to rip up his paper that says I can't stay at his place. But he picked up this paper that was so thick, I couldn't rip it at all.
So you just sitting there on stage too?
Yeah, I was like, I tried to break it on I couldn't, not even a little bit.
Yeah.
So things happen.
Yeah, and we had a couple of sick people today as well.
Yeah,
so we had a few jump-ins, which was really cool.
They did great. They were amazing.
Yeah, and we were just saying as well how cool it is that just having a different body in the space makes the whole scene feel different.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's in no better way or worse way. It just feels different and fresh, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
And it does feel new and exciting. And like you said, once we start getting into the show runs, it's kind of cool to see the different vibe and what it brings.
Absolutely.
Do you live for those little moments where it kind of something goes off the rails a bit? Does that excite you, or do you get nervous about stuff like that?
I think it depends on how far it gets off the rails. If it's a little bit, then it's funny and exciting.
Yeah.
If it's something that you feel only you guys on stage noticed, that's good. When it starts to become bigger than that, where it's disrupting the magic of the theater, then it becomes a little trickier. I don't know, did you hear during Say il mio nome today.
Yeah.
A person kept sneezing. I'm not talking like once.
Just kept going.
Yeah. No, it was as if Berta went out into the audience and was sitting out there. He sneezed probably 5-6 times. Loudly. And Herman actually said, bless you.
Did he?
And everybody laughed. Or he did something.
That's funny. That is quite in line with Figaro's character, though, to break the fourth wall and tell the audience member, excuse me,
The timing was so perfect because it's this very quiet, peaceful moment of music. And then, achoo!
Wow.
It was big.
It was 6 times, too.
So That's many crazy. Times.
Look out.
Must have had like an allergic reaction or something.
Well, it is a wet and windy day here at Glyndebourne at the moment. We have probably had the worst weather we've had since arriving.
Yeah, it is.
It's not the best day for a picnic, but
soggy sandwiches.
Exactly. A bad weather day at Glyndebourne beats a good day at work.
Yeah, that's true.
One of the other questions I had for you was, what do you do and how do you prepare when you approach a new role? How would you go about it? Are you a listen to recordings kind of guy? Do you like to see the text first, or do you want to learn the history?
Yeah, I mean, the ideal situation is you have plenty of time to prepare it, which is not always the case. But when I do have the time, I like to go through and translate everything. Mm-hmm. If I don't speak the language, and if I don't know a word. And then what I really like to do, and I've done this for a few roles, not every role, is I speak through the whole libretto, everybody's parts. Because at the end of the day, you need to know what every single person is saying.
Yeah.
And I'll read through the libretto 3 or 4 times. It makes a huge difference. Like this coach was telling me to do it, and I was like, that's going to be so much time, to like learn my lines without the music and then go into the music. But it makes the biggest difference because you see the text before the music. Whereas I feel like when I was younger, I would focus first on how am I going to sing this?
Yeah.
And then the words are always going to feel secondary. Because if you focus first on the music, then it's always going to come across as the priority, I think.
Yeah, cool. So your approach is definitely text, and story.
Yeah.
And then everything else should just flow from that.
Definitely. It's a story art form. And I think opera singers forget too often that that's the case. Yeah. I actually have worked with almost nobody who is just a singer. But I've seen people where you get up there and you can tell that the biggest thing for them is the voice, which is important.
Yeah,
so important. Yeah. I like to say that you can make it if you have an amazing voice, and if you have no acting capabilities whatsoever, you can still do pretty well. But vice versa doesn't work. Because you need to be able to sing the stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I think I know there's been plenty of stars throughout the years that the acting hasn't quite been there, but the voice is just out of this world.
It's stunning. Usually they go in hand, I do have to say, and sometimes the singer's just having a bad night and they need to think technically.
Well, how do you combat a bad night? Do you ever feel like you're getting a bit tired, or you wake up just not feeling good on a show day? What is there anything that you approach the evening with to combat that?
Yeah, not so long ago I was doing a Cenerentola in Munich and I had really bad food poisoning, throwing up. I had to be here for a couple of rehearsals between shows in Munich, and I got food poisoning here, throwing up on the plane back to Munich. And the next day, still feeling awful and so tired. And I actually took muscle relaxants. And I do have to say, it took a lot more energy and focus just to, be standing there and to make a pretty sound than normal. So probably, my stage presence lacked a little bit because you have to divert more attention and focus onto just making through it.
Yeah. 100%.
So I think that's the biggest thing is you practice really hard so that when the day of the show comes, you have the amount of focus that you actively have to give to what you're doing is actually pretty low.
Yeah.
Like to the singing and to the words, so that you can just be watching people and reacting.
Yeah. I guess come the time of the performance, you do want it to be second nature. Like it needs to be in your body.
Yeah.
So that way you can embody it on stage to the best of your ability. Did you find that when you took the muscle relaxants, did you find that you were benefiting a little bit from that in terms of, oh, this is how I sing again. This is my correct kind of posture. I'm in a good spot. Or did you?
They made me feel really good. I've never taken muscle relaxants before. I don't know what brand it was. A friend gave them to me. I don't know what was in them. But I felt really good.
You sure they weren't mushrooms or something? They didn't try and just...
I had to like remind myself to keep standing up straight, because I'd just be like standing there and just zoning out.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was because of the tiredness or if it was because of the muscle relax. I don't know. But yeah, everything did feel like quite flexible and easy. And I was like, this is great. And then somebody sent me a clip and I was pretty flat. Not all the time, but every once in a while, if there was like a turn that went high into my register, it would just be so flat.
It was a little bit too relaxed.
A little bit too relaxed. And I'm normally sharp. You know, I err on the side of sharp, which is not a good thing either, but...
It's the professional side of the note is what I've been told.
Yeah, that's what people say, but the professional note is the correct one, actually.
Yes, that is true. Do you do anything else besides singing, or is this 100% what you're into? Do you have any other hobbies? Hobbies. Maybe I took some of those muscle relaxants.
I gotta say, opera does take up a lot of my life.
Yeah.
But does having a partner count as having a hobby?
Yeah, it can do.
No.
Depends how high maintenance they are.
I have mostly like the really lame hobbies, to be honest. I like to read like fiction books, like epic fantasy type things, and then I also play video games and then getting into the gym recently.
Cool. Do you find that reading helps with your character building when you're coming to a role, like just expanding the imagination a little bit?
I never thought about that, but recently I did hear that like people who read a lot of novels are more emotionally intelligent because they're in the heads of so many different people.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's true or not. I think I heard that on TikTok. So but I never thought of it being something that helps me with my like character development for a role. But maybe it does. That's an interesting question. You said you read too, right?
I love audiobooks. I struggle to sit down and read books very often because I'm usually on the go.
You read fiction or non-fiction?
A bit of everything. So yeah, I don't like to pigeonhole myself. I kind of try to listen to as much as possible, and I find it really interesting. And like I said, audiobooks are really good for that because you can just plug it in while you're on the train and still kind of have your wits about you.
Do you feel like it helps?
Yeah, I do.
With the singing?
I think so.
Everything helps, right?
Well, it's just kind of about building that a worldly character and a worldly persona, I think, because you need to experience things to portray things.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important. Try hitting that little yellow button on the side, and that should, just once, it should make it green. There we are.
Did it turn off?
Now we're on, hopefully, noise cancelling.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see if that works in post, but we've got the other one there.
The wonderful Cecilia Molinari.
You got more hope than I do, but she's fantastic.
She's fantastic. I'm pretty sure that's her. I hope I said her last name right. I'm pretty sure that's her last name.
What's your do you have any like little set things you do right before you go on stage, like right before lights up? Are you a
To be honest, I try to make the day as like normal as possible. So if I would do anything on any other day, I would do it on show day, like doing my laundry and going to the store and going to the gym. I did all of that today.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to show time, I like to be really amped up.
Yeah.
So I usually am like, let's go. Even
really
if I don't feel it. So sometimes it might feel fake, but sometimes I just go to everyone that I see, let's go, best show yet, let's go.
Yeah, nice.
That's what I want the energy on stage to be like in the audience, and especially this show because I started really. I'm not the very first person that you see, but so if it starts high energy, the audience goes, oh, okay, we can relax, like this is gonna be an interesting show.
Yeah.
Whereas if the show starts and the audience isn't hooked right away, it can take a long time to get them back.
Yeah, cool. Do you, we've started doing a similar thing in the men's change room at the moment.
Yeah.
So we've got, I brought a speaker in, and we usually have some like upbeat, funky stuff, a bit of soul going, just to kind of get everyone's mood up pre-show. And you can't underestimate what a packet of lollies does for energy levels.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would do the dance party when I was in Bordeaux. I'd turn on some music. Actually, after the show started, and me and the soprano would...
You have a little boogie.
Rock out to, some Michael Jackson or something like that.
Is there anything you do to combat performance anxiety? Okay,
this is something that I feel lied to about.
Okay.
Because pop stars, rock stars, everyone that they ask about performance anxiety, they ask them, oh, do you still get nervous, for stuff? And everyone always goes, yeah, I get so nervous. I still get just as nervous as I did as when I was first starting. I feel like it's a lie. I mean, I'm not in their body and in their mind, but I remember when I was 15 and I was singing in like a library for a recital for my voice teacher, my voice studio. And I would be shaking. I was so nervous. Yeah. And I definitely don't get that nervous anymore.
It's just second nature at this
definitely
point.
Gets better. And I started telling myself a while ago that whenever I felt nervous, that I was just excited. Because I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard that your body doesn't really know the difference. Yeah. So if you just say you're excited, you can kind of twist
the narrative.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And to be honest, I like a little bit of nerves, like a little bit of like...
Well, it keeps you awake, it keeps you alert, doesn't it? Like just having that little bit where you're not on edge, but you're alert, you're sensitive to what's going on around you. Yeah, and it shows that you care. So it's not a bad thing to have nerves, because it means you want to do a good job. Exactly. But it's also helpful to know that everybody in the audience is hoping for the best experience of their life. Yeah. And I don't think any audience is a hard audience, because I think they all are there wanting to be, thrilled or touched, moved, And I think that's pretty easy to work with. That's cool. Do you, is this your first time doing the count?
No, I've done it 2 other times.
Okay.
This is the first, we've had a really good rehearsal period and we're doing a lot of shows. So this period will quadruple the amount of times I've done. Yeah. Performance nights. Yeah. They'll quadruple it.
Can you expand on what the rehearsal period's been like and what that entails, just for people who don't have any experience in it?
So this rehearsal period, we've had six weeks, which is really long for an opera singer. The longest I've had before this, I think, is 3.5. So it's almost double. Yeah. Which is nice because you can get a really great community with everybody on stage, and we've tried a lot of stuff out, and I think it actually, ironically, more rehearsal kind of provides for a more spontaneous show. But normally you get 2 weeks. Yeah. In my experience, unless you're doing a new production, then you get more like this. But this is actually an old production, but we still got a long time, which is nice. So the first time I did this show, I had 2.5 weeks. Yeah. And it was my very first professional gig ever where I was playing a leading character, a main character. And I think I was so nervous the whole time. I barely remember any of it. Yeah. I didn't feel like I was doing a particularly good job. And I was in the middle of the Young Artist program. Yeah. So I had all of these voices in my head, which they're not bad voices, but they're critical voices. And I think I had a hard time letting go for that show. The second time I did it, it was a really short rehearsal period. I think we had 5 days.
Yeah.
5 or 6, maybe 7 days of actual rehearsal. And then just 3 shows. So that went by so fast that I feel like I barely spent any time with the role until now.
Yeah. What's the rehearsal day look like for you? You're the leading man, so are you there 10 to 5:30? Figaro is the leading man as well, but you share just as much stage time with him.
You know, this opera originally was called Count Almaviva.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then after they played it, they were like, oh, everybody likes Figaro more. We'll call it Viene di Sevilla.
They just renamed it.
Yeah, truly. They really did.
That's funny. Figaro is a very entertaining persona, though.
Yeah, exactly. You can't upstage and not that I would even want to, but I wouldn't want to, Herman. I would never do that to you, ever. And I couldn't even if I tried. Herman's amazing.
Yeah.
But Figaro's just the character everybody wants to play and be, and he's the people's man.
Yeah, that's true. Do you find that working with people like Herman and every one of these cast, because they're all just fantastic actors and performers, do you find that it's brought your level up a bit, or you feel like you're coasting, or is it easy? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know how to try.
This is just every Tuesday
the show's going to be good even if I don't show up. No, I definitely feel like it adds a little bit of pressure because you think, oh, I have to be as good as everybody around me.
Yeah.
So I definitely think it does raise the overall level.
Yeah, the bar.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And with this amazing chorus.
Yeah, the chorus is fantastic.
You guys are stressing me out. Stop being so good.
We actually have a lot of fun, the chorus, because I think we're there for a couple of really fun little numbers where we kind of get to run on stage last minute and just make a laugh of ourselves.
I've done this chorus as well.
There's the half-hour call. What rep would you think about doing in the future? Is there anything that you'd like to move into? Or is there stuff that you're really interested in character-wise? Or
yeah, right now I'm really solidly in like the light, high lyric tenor stuff. I'll probably do this probably the rest of my career. But I do want to do certain roles.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'll see how the voice develops. It's not really because I want to like prove that I have a big voice. That's not it at all. It's because the librettos of a lot of these operas and they're the operas that I fell in love with opera with. And so I want to play them because of that.
Yeah.
Because the stuff that I do is great, but it's generally all from the same period.
Yeah. And
there can be quite a bit of similarity in the librettos. And generally I'm always in love with a woman, I'm actually interested in doing new works as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What's your do you have much experience working on new works, or is it just something you really want to dive into?
I've done a few scenes from new works, and I've auditioned with a couple of like new arias, and I will do some new works. Can't
disclose anything.
I can't disclose where that's gonna be. But it's definitely something that's on my mind. It's something that I want to do. But it's got to be the right thing. I don't want to do some really ugly.
Yeah, some really tonal and very difficult to learn thing.
Yeah, it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah. Do you how do you feel about recordings then? Like if you were doing like a new modern piece for the first time, world premiere, how do you feel about recording things like that? Or are you like
it'd be super
new
cool
recordings
to do
or
it'd be. And a long time ago I was thinking about albums. Recently, actually, funny enough, I've been thinking less about doing an album. When I was in school, I was like, I really want to get to the point where I can do an album and make an album. And I think right now I'm so busy just, doing all my job that it's definitely on the back burner for now. But maybe in the future do some recordings. But to record a new opera would be awesome.
That's pretty cool.
And part of the reason why I would love to do a new opera, like a premiere, and not just an opera that's been written in the last 10 years, is because then you have somewhat of a say of how the music goes.
Yeah.
And the role is written for you in a certain way, which would be really cool.
It's fantastic. I mean, Mozart wrote the majority of his roles with a character in mind, and a lot of composers did that. So it'd be cool to be the voice that the composer has in mind for the opera or the
It would be
role.
really cool to like get with some really prolific composer and like they just fall in love with your voice and then they just start writing for you and every opera you've got something in it and they're like, oh, that's the Jonah Hoskins voice type. So you gotta have, sound like Jonah if you want to sing that.
Yeah. Try and match me.
You try.
That's cool. Well, I think that's all my questions. Thanks for coming on. I've had a blast.
Of course,
it's been cool to kind of pick your brain a little bit. Do you have any announcements or things that are coming up or anything exciting?
There are 9 more shows here.
9 more shows at Glamborn, yep.
And then I'll be in Hamburg.
Okay.
And basically, if you want to catch me next year, come to Hamburg or Berlin.
Okay, awesome. Cool. Well, easy as that. Thank you. And thanks for the first podcast.
Yeah, of course.
Cool.
Best of wishes to you.
Easy. Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.